I'm Boyle and I'm quitting alcohol. So back at work today, another day, another dollar. I was up having lunch today, already like 6 hours into the 12-hour shift. And that's the only place I get internet. So I have some lunch and I have a little scroll. So I check my emails and guess who it is? Mum sent me an email. I'm like, this can't be good. This is never good. It's never good when Mum contacts me for any reason. It's never to say hi, that's for sure. So I look at the subject. It says, back to your subject. I'm quitting alcohol. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. She's had a few wines and she's ready to tell me how to podcast. So this is what she wrote. Might like to mention that now and again, there is an influx of people, and she spelled influx INFLLUCE. An influx of people counting their days on Facebook. Days of sobriety, I guess. I would always refer them to you, but it's pretty hard when you don't actually engage with this anymore. Go back and think. 110%. I would put every single cent I have, every single fucking Satoshi of Bitcoin I have on it, that she was 3 reds down at least, minimum. There's no fucking way that was a sober message. And if she is listening, she said she doesn't listen, but obviously she is. The only person that I hope this podcast works on is you, Mom. It's you. So you don't need to get me any new fans. How about you quit drinking? It's been 45 fucking years. I can just picture her drunk, just troweling through fucking sobriety Facebook groups. Think she's like a fucking double agent trying to get me fucking listeners. How about you just quit drinking, Mum? That's all you need to do. Jesus fucking Christ. I don't need your guerrilla marketing fucking help. Fucking hell. And I've almost done 1900 fucking episodes. Do you know how fucking boring it is? Talking about alcohol every single fucking day. You can't even do it for 100 days straight, let alone 1900 days straight. So the podcast is a comedy podcast, a philosophy podcast, and now a waterproofing podcast. It's barely an I'm quitting alcohol fucking podcast. The I'm quitting alcohol part is following the journey of someone fucking quitting alcohol. It's not discussing fucking alcohol Alcohol's the most boring fucking topic in the world after a certain point. If new cunts want to jump on board, just start at day one. Follow the journey from day one, where I'm a miserable cunt like the rest of you. And now it's come full cycle because I'm back at work and I'm a miserable cunt again. So that's the journey. That's the I'm quitting alcohol, is following the life of someone who's quit alcohol. Every single day is recorded since the day I quit drinking. If you listen to them all 1900, I speak about quitting alcohol enough, all right? Now this podcast is more or less just for me. Anyway, Anyway, someone on the Patreon suggested I interview my mum on this, not on this podcast, on fucking the Patreon. Dejeni Diaries, the ultimate Dejeni. And she was here recently, like, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and I was thinking about it. I was like, I'm just going to ask her to fucking record something with me. I'll give her a couple of wines so she can loosen up, which will also put on display the character of the lady. But the problem is she has this fucking cough and it's just insane. She can't control it. She's coughing every 5 or 6 seconds. You can't do a podcast with someone going every 5 or 6 seconds. Not to mention just the complete incoherence of her. Just what a disaster that would fucking be. And she tries to pretend the cough has nothing to do with smoking as well. She's like, oh, I picked up a cold since I've been here. I'm like, you've been coughing for the last 6 years. It's been a 6-year cough. Yeah, you may have picked something up while you were here that made the cough even worse, but you've had the cough for 6 fucking years. So that's the reason why I didn't ask her to do the Degeni Diaries. But next time she's here or I go and see her, we can fucking do an episode. But you're going to have to look past the coughing. Anyway, it's Monday and you know what that means. It's Ask Boyle time. So if you have a question you would like answered by one of the greatest minds of the generation or any generation, comedian, philosopher, waterproofer, Boyle, then head to my website, boylecomedy.com. There's a section there for Ask Boyle. You know the drill. Put your details in, ask your question, and I'll try and fucking sort your life out. While you're there, while you're at my website, how about you fucking join the Patreon? We got the Degeni Diaries. You get the access to them. There's been 16 of them. There's some other bullshit I put on there. You get an opportunity to be interviewed if you're on the Patreon. And you're just helping out Le Boyle. Isn't that enough? It's a pint a month. It's a cheap fucking pint a month. It's a 2008 pint a month. So head there, join the Patreon. It is, well, it's going to be my bread and butter again because this job isn't going to last forever. So it's back to the Patreon after that. Anyway, let's get to this week's Ask Boyle. So this week's Ask Boyle was sent in through the Patreon. And this listener wants to remain anonymous. So here it is. I am 489 days sober and your podcast has truly helped me so much with my success. Yeah, well, tell that to my fucking mom. I'm on a work trip and got invited out to a bar with co-workers. I haven't been at a bar since I quit drinking and we stayed till they closed. How do you recommend someone in this situation survive? I did okay the first couple of hours, but as the drinks kept coming, I wasn't on the same level as them, and I feel it was obvious. Thanks. Well, Anonymous, you have come to the right place. For starters, 489 days and you hadn't been to a bar at all. That's the first time. That's holding out. Jesus Christ. So in that situation, the thing is, well, there's two things. The first thing is when you're sober and you're hanging out with drunks, you're fucking doing well if you can hang in there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Still now, I'm 5 years into it and I've been at bars. I've hung out with drunks. I'm a comedian. I'm in bars all the time. Like, it doesn't bother me being in bars, but fucking just hanging out with people drinking, anything over like an hour and a half or the equivalent of maybe like 4 or 5 beers, it's done. It just becomes a complete fucking drain of energy. It's like vampires sucking your energy out of you for some reason. I don't know what that is. But I suppose like when you're drinking, you feed off each other's energy and that fucking psychotic drinking energy just ramps everything up. But when you're sober and you're part of that, it's tiring. It's exhausting and it's annoying. So I'm the same as you. I hang in there pretty good for like the first hour. I'm solid. Hour and a half, I'm starting to feel it. By 2 hours, I'm ready to go unless there's something particularly interesting going on, which hasn't happened yet. It really hasn't, which is embarrassing for everyone I know. So that's the first thing. Don't expect to be hanging in there like you're a fucking drinker. You're 489 days sober. You're not one of them anymore. You're one of us. The other thing is, after a certain point, people who are drinking don't even notice you're there or not. You could disappear. No one would fucking have any clue you left. They're not concerned about you. They don't give a fuck. Like, no one is interested. If they know you're sober, they'll ask you a couple of questions, but like, just to make a little bit of chit chat. They're more absorbed in what's going on in their world. They do not care. It's just what's coming out of their mouth is the most important thing in the world. And I was one of them as well. Don't get me wrong. I find it very hard to believe that I was repetitive and annoying, but statistics say I was repetitive and annoying and a cunt and just fucking not fun to be around. Because I haven't seen like a real cool drunk yet. And after a certain amount of drinks, drinkers don't know what the fuck's happening. I remember, here's a case in point. I lived with a girl at university and we would all go out. It was a share house. There were 3 girls and a dude and me. And one of the girls, Laura, she was sober most of the time. She would never really drink, but she would go out with us and she would hang all night. And every single fucking time I'd go to the bar, I'm like, do you want a beer? Forgetting that she doesn't drink, I would ask her 400 times throughout the night if she's wasted. And she's like, I've told you 400 times, I'm sober, I'm not drinking tonight. And then the next morning, I'm like, are you hungover? She's like, I didn't drink. I'm like, oh yeah. I think I remember you mentioning that at some point. She's like, oh, I told you 1,000,000 times. I'm like, nah. Hazy memory of that. What happened was, I was so drunk that it seemed like she was drunk. I was drunk enough for both of us. So it didn't matter if she wasn't drinking or not. It made no difference to me. I still thought she was drunk. So that's what you need. You need to get into the mind of drinkers. They're not really concerned with people's feelings or if they're fucking uncomfortable or if they're feeling a bit awkward. All they're thinking about is the next drink, maybe getting laid, maybe getting into a fight, maybe fucking calling someone a cunt. Like, just very basic things. And it's just very narrow. They're not concerned with what anyone else is doing or saying, or it's just fucking, it's all self-absorbed shit. So when you go out with them, all you need to know is you're going to be good for like the first hour and a half. Once they start getting drunk, they become fucking insanely boring and annoying and just repetitive and fucking annoying, to be honest with you. But if you're going to hang for longer, there's no need to be awkward because they're immersed in what they're doing. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You can fucking run around. You could take your shirt off and fucking just swing it around. No one would even care. You could have the same lack of self-consciousness as they do. No one would notice. So you can just play it how you feel. But it's hard to hang like that late at night. Anyway, fucking, I hope that helped ya. Congratulations on the 489 days. Holding strong. Good shit. Anyway, thanks for the question. That'll do, and I'll see you the fuck later.